He's so happy to work on FVs, man. Look at him, he's such a happy guy.
This isn't a real smile. Pros, bro. Look at that. Pro. Oh no. Oh.
Damn, I heard that one from over here.
No, you didn't.
Am I ready, Mr. Krabs?
Crabs.
I don't know, man. I just freaking work here. Cheap, like they're super. Oh, they're. Oh boy. Oh, that's not what I wanted to find.
All right, you guys. Today we're gonna be diving into the 390 FE, or so I was told. It was in my 1971 crew cab. We're gonna see exactly what went wrong with this thing, why, learn everything about it, and ultimately do what we came in to do here and fix the oil pan, which you can see is still leaking oil. And we're gonna be fixing the freeze plugs in this thing. You can see these things are pretty rotted out of it. I do actually just now notice that it does have a tag, so it's definitely been rebuilt. And I'm gonna be probably fixing the cylinder head or putting new cylinder heads on it because there's helicoils and broken bolts all over this thing. So lots of stuff to get into in today's video, but hopefully by the end of this, we have a nice, pretty, beautiful engine we can put back in the crew cab. So the owner of this thing, when I bought this in Saudi Daisy, Tennessee, I'll overlay some videos as I'm talking, but this came from the Saudi Daisy collection, which was in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We bought this, I believe, in 2022 Power Tour. So Solomon and I flew out there last minute, checked the whole collection. There was 114 Ford trucks, I think a couple Dodges in there, but 114 Ford trucks on the property. Solomon bought the entire collection, and there was only 2 bump side crew cabs on the property. The long bed, and then there was a blue short bed. The blue short bed was hammered. Mine was pretty much looked like it had been sitting under a tree. It was covered in moss. You couldn't even see out the window. And I was told by Brent, the guy that owned the property before Solomon, I was told by Brent, the guy that owned the collection before Solomon, that this thing had a blueprinted 390, and he swore by it. When I ran the VIN on the truck, it was a Y code, which is a 360. So I obviously can see that this thing has been rebuilt. The truck does have a good amount of torque and power. It's a factory 4-speed with a 456 rear gear in the back, which is really interesting. So I'm actually going to be able to check the stroke length and check everything out inside of this engine to see if he was telling me the truth, and we can see what's actually in this thing. So I'm going to start tearing into this thing. We're going to go down to basically the short block. Pretty sure I'm going to pull these heads off and go down to JBA and see if we can get a core set that are a lot nicer than these and don't have broken bolts. But either way, got a ton of stuff to do. Holy crap, dude. It's gonna break. It's gonna break. Don't break, don't break, don't break. Oh. Ah, no! Oh. I might have got it. I don't think I broke it. I think I got it. Oh my god, I think I actually got it. Did I actually get that, or is it? Oh, it's not coming out. That's sick. No way, bro. Oh, yeah, it's broken. Son of a... Alrighty, jamming away on the front end of this thing. So far, only broke 1 bolt off in the cylinder head. Not terrible. I haven't done the rest of them yet, but I'm about to. I did notice on the front of this thing, you can kind of see right in there. Looks like there's definitely a good amount of corrosion in there. So that would probably tell me why when this thing would sit in traffic, this thing would get a little bit warm. The bypass looks like it's a little bit clogged. And then over on the water pump, same thing. Looks like it's a little bit corroded in there for sure. So that's a little corroded. Inside the water pump doesn't look too bad. It's definitely some corrosion for sure. But overall, it is still, you know, the port is still flowing what it seems like it should, which is good. So overall, about what I expected. I do believe that this compressor will work with a, not even a rebuild, just top off the oil, cycle it around, because the oil poured out of this thing and the system does have oil in it. So it tells me that it wasn't dry for a long time. I don't know when it stopped getting used, but I do remember driving the crew cab when I would turn the fan, the blower motor on, and that lower AC system, which is not the original heater box in this truck, the actual dealer installed AC in my truck, it did work. So the wire for the compressor wasn't hooked up. So as long as I hooked that up, I think I can get this compressor work. So it'd be really rad to have a original AC working. I've never actually seen one of these trucks with the original AC, not vintage air or any of these aftermarket ones, but the original piston style compressors, because these things are cold. So it'd be rad if I can get that thing to work. But yeah, next thing, I'm gonna pop the valve covers off and work on getting this intake off so I can get these cylinder heads off, and we'll flip it over and pull this pan off, see what we got. Loose. Hell yeah. Yeah, not too bad. So I do remember when I took this thing apart at Dillon's, all of these were seized solid. So you can see, I don't know how much you guys can see on the camera, but there is corrosion in here. And that was way worse when I opened this up the first time. I mean, check this out. And this is the kind of stuff, like, when you see an engine and freak out and think, oh my God, I need to take this thing down to nothing. Let's see if I can get this out with a pick, actually, and show you guys. Like, there is pieces of, like, chunked material that just are, like, hanging out in this engine. And I cannot wait to take the pan off because I'm going to want to rebuild it. But I'm here to tell you that you don't. Because crap like this just sits in your engine. As long as it doesn't go anywhere and it doesn't get stuck in the oil pan, it'll be fine. Yeah, it looks solid. Solid pieces of rust. Like legit pieces like this that are actually huge. Just like sit in the motor. Look at all this crap. Yeah, full. So yeah, there's tons of crap in this thing, so. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and pop the rockers off.
Daddy's drinking.
Oh boy. These should be torqued to 45 foot-pounds. That's what I did when I put them on. So like this kind of stuff, if I break this off in the block, I can blame myself. Anything else, not my fault. The nice thing about these FEs is, man, they're easy to set lash. You know, once your geometry's set for push rod length, you literally just pop them on like this and take them back off. Torque them and then you're good. That's like literally all there is. Yeah, I'll get a close-up on some of these push rods. These things are corroded. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna keep jamming on the other side. Set my hammer down for no reason. It is. If I can get it to come off. There we go. It's a good thing I have this here. Oh wow. Okay, give me this. Okay. Okay. We're gonna go on the floor. Yeah, there's a little bit in there. Gaskets. Oh, there's the broken bolt. Oh, I can actually get that out. There's the bolt that it broke. See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's ironic.
That's it. That's easy.
Yeah, Velcro gaskets on the heads. Yeah, this thing's definitely been rebuilt. And there it goes. Nice, bunch of coolant. All the coolant. Well, it doesn't look bad. It looks really clean. There's definitely a little bit of corrosion here. What looked like it could have started to be coolant. But it's okay. We're here to fix all that. Alright, so we can see inside of here. Nothing really out of the ordinary. There's a little bit of mud in here. So what I think happened is a little bit of corrosion came down in here from it sitting, and this was, I think, years prior to me even owning it. And you can see there's just a little bit of mud in there. The lifters look good. You can see the camshaft in there. It does look very good still. I mean, the things ran amazing. I'll pull some lifters out and see what they look like, but yeah, there's definitely a little bit of water that got in there. So it's kind of a good thing we're getting in here now. I don't think the head gasket was necessarily leaking. I think on the other side, maybe just a little bit right here, but like down in this area a little bit, but I honestly don't think it was anything to be worried about. But yeah, we're just here. So while we're here, we're just gonna be checking everything. So next thing is the cylinder head. You can see that stud that I broke off right there. Super rad that it's actually above the head. So it'll be much easier to take out if I decide to keep these heads. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and check everything else, pop the heads off, check the pistons and see what's actually going on underneath this thing, flip it over and we'll pop the pan off. Okay. I'm like super nervous about this part because if I break one of these off in the block, I'm screwed. Oh man. Okay, that's good. It's a good start. These are the ones I'm not stoked about, is the bottom ones. Ones that were not sitting in oil this whole time. Okay. God, I'm like stressing about those head bolts. That was good. Whew. Got that one. Oh wow, this one's really tight. Whew. Okay. Whew. No way. Okay, I'm just gonna crack it. Well, no, I'll just do one at a time. Okay. You ready? Am I ready, Mr. Krabs? I don't know, man. I just freaking work here. Oh, dick. Oh, it's got flat tops in it. Hell yeah. I don't know if those are factory flat tops, but that's good. Oh, this thing looks mint, dude. Look at the cross hatching in those things. Those look really good. Wow, look at that. They're tight too.
Is there any numbers on the pistons?
No, but they're aftermarket. They're cheap, like they're super, oh, they're
60. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think 60 over.
Yeah.
Oof. Well, we're definitely not taking it apart. That sucks ass. Damn. I mean, I feel like you can get away with 60 over on an FE better than you can on a small block. So that's probably okay.
Well, at least the cross hatching's good.
Yeah, it is.
So
Does this thing roll? I want to see if it's anything like a zero deck or old dick. Forget about that.
definitely not a zero deck.
Yeah, not even close.
But that's, well, I guess it's still got a gasket on it. Oh no, it doesn't.
Well, we got factory flat tops. I need to check the stroke length. Let's pull the other head off. See if I break that one. Okay. Oh boy.
I heard you there.
Hear my elbow.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh.
Damn, I heard that one from over here.
No, you didn't.
Snap the boat, hey!
Did I?
I think so.
Eat Franklin.
Oh.
I did not break a bolt. Oh boy. Gimme. Okay, so it does have a closed chamber head, which is sick, but not sick because these heads are broke. All right, so looking at this number one piston, you can see it does rock a little bit, but that's normal. And these don't look too bad, which is good. The only downside though is you can see it right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Hopefully you can. Big ol' 6.0 right there. Nice. We drained the oil, yeah?
Yeah, you did. You will spill again.
I will spill again. All the coolant's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Bro! Oh, the lifters.
Well, yeah, I know. I was
The
looking for-
lifters. The lifters. I forgot about the lifters. I gotta pull the lifters out. There it goes. Got it. Oh boy. Oh, that's not what I wanted to find. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Look at that pickup tube. Holy crap. What is that, bro? How did this thing make any oil pressure? Look at this. It's like a film. No way. How the hell did this thing even run? Yeah, it's all been rebuilt. You can see it's got resized rods in it. They're all labeled.
This is trippy.
Oh my god, yeah, it just peels right off. It's like poop. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm playing with engine. I'm playing with engine poop right now. Look at that. Oh. This is what came out of the pickup.
Covered the whole thing.
That is wild. All right, guys. So I got this thing pretty much stripped down. You can see this is after I've peeled up pretty much everything. This is what's landing in there. I wish I could have shot of this before I, jumped the gun and took everything out, but the rest of it's in the trash. So yeah, this is kind of what we're working with. The urge to pull a main cap and a bearing cap on the rod right now is so high, and I know I really want to. I don't think I will. I don't think I should, because I know how this works is I take one bearing and one cap off and I find something I don't like, and now, well, you know what happens after that. So trying to prevent that, because I'm going to eat my own words from the last video where I said I'm just going to reseal it. Trust me. I'm sticking to my word. I don't care how long it takes at this point. That's what we're going to do. So I know this thing made good oil pressure somehow. Even with this, mind you, the gauge is all the way over here, so it would have had to go all the way through here to get to that gauge. Mechanical gauge as well, so I know this setup's good. I know this setup works. I've driven this thing. I've towed with it over 1,000 miles. I trust it. You can see the pistons on the backside look brand new still. Everything inside this engine does actually look very, very good. So the last thing I want to do is pull it apart and mess something up. So I think what's actually going to happen here, I'm going to pop this off and clean this thing out entirely, make sure there's no gunk or goop in here, make sure that's all good. I don't think any of it actually got into the oil filter or the oil pump, and if it did, it landed in our filter, which we'll change over here. I'm going to pop this guy off, get this guy all cleaned up, wire wheeled, cleaned up, pull the motor mounts, and then we're going to split all these freeze plugs out of it. So yeah, we've got quite a few. But yeah, you did see on the downside, this thing is 60 over, which is super lame. I'm not stoked about that at all, because I usually trash and bag on 60 over engines because they get hot. Unfortunately, when you bore them out that big, small blocks or big blocks, same thing. More so on the small block side. But I did notice in traffic, when this thing sits, it just starts climbing. Not like anything like 220, 230, but it does get past 190 and up into like the 200 to 210 range if it's hot out. And if it's pulling a grade, it takes a lot to get it back down to 190. But this truck on the freeway normally will sit around 145 to 155. This truck runs ice cold. So it has a big temperature swing once it gets up into traffic, and I think that does have to do with it being 60 over now that I see it. But it's also not the end of the world. I don't think this is a forever engine for this truck. I haven't entirely figured out what platform I want to end up in this thing, and as for right now, I do think the FE is going to work just fine for what we're doing. It's towed this thing all the way a state over just fine with big hills and whatnot. So I think the FE, being that's what came in a factory, is totally fine and totally sufficient for the time being. I don't know if we're going to do a diesel or if we're going to do some sort of other motor, but this is definitely going to be a designated tow vehicle, so I don't think a gas engine will do. The Godzilla is great, but you guys got to keep in mind that thing gets like 6 miles to the gallon when it's built. So they're awesome, but does it really make sense to get something that's that poor fuel mileage? Not really. So on this thing, I'm going to get clean in this thing. I'm going to pull the rest of it off, start getting this thing cleaned up. I've got some special tools I'm going to show you on how we clean this up really, really efficiently. And then I'm going to head down to JBA to hopefully get a new oil pan and then possibly swap out my cylinder heads and get some new ones, because unfortunately they're a 72 date coated closed chamber heads. I'll show you once we get down there, but the ears on them are so messed up that I don't even think I can put a set of headers on them without them leaking. So it makes sense just to swap them out, but I will not put an open chamber head on it. So I gotta try to find another set of closed chambers, and I do not want to put a set of aluminum heads on this thing. Okay, so you can see this block is incredibly dirty and covered in all sorts of grease and oils and whatnots. And what I'm going to use to clean that is a nylon brush disc. So you can see on the front of this thing, it's got a bunch of little bristles. This thing snaps in like a regular pad. You can see it's got just one little side on here. And you can see that's the brand. So it's just made by Scotch-Brite. It's a Rollo bristle disc. This thing just screws onto like a regular like 3-inch from Harbor Freight. I have that put into a drill just because I don't have a compressor that works right now. Literally, it just comes right off. Like, a little bit. You know, this thing will just do work on this block. So I'm gonna go through the whole thing, knock as much as I can off, and I will probably have to use a wire wheel on some of these other corroded spots, but for the most part, we'll see how gnarly this thing will get. All right, guys, just got down to every grown man's favorite toy store, JBA Speed Shop, local in San Diego. It's an awesome place. If you just get bored, come check it out. It's well worth the time. So a ton of cool cars out front as always, and hopefully they'll have the oil pan as well as the cylinder heads that I need to fix the crew cab's engine. So I think we just found a set of C7 heads as well as C8 heads, which are good. They'll be roughly in the 68 to 72 cc range, which is about where we were sitting before. Closed chamber, hopefully in good shape. So we're gonna check it out now and see how the process goes. So walking into the machine shop here. Oh, there you are.
Get out of here.
How's it going? So cruising over here, you can see, check these things out. So there's like anything machine shop related. I didn't even know you guys could do this. You can see, you can literally measure the CC on a cylinder head.
So you get whatever, I mean, this is probably like an Autolite 45, which I don't know what this takes, but it's close enough.
Yeah.
And you got to screw it in the head. But right there, you get this little piece of plexiglass with a hole in it.
Yeah, and these guys do everything in-house. You can see they've got everything from, you can go from a standard bore to a 4.125 big bore. You can hone it in here, lathes, mills, piston resizing, swapping rods, all of it. Even polishing crankshafts over there.
And we'll even build FEs.
We'll even build an FE. It's crazy, man. Yeah. This isn't by choice, man. This is just...
This is a favor.
I don't know if a 410 Windsor would actually move that huge truck very well.
It would move it better.
But yeah, these sides are way better than mine, and the biggest problem with mine is all the ears on the backside are broke off. You can see these ones are all still there.
And you got to squish it. You can see it.
Yeah.
Squish out. So that way the water doesn't seep out of there and you get an inaccurate reading. You'd have a knob on this, but it kind of broke off, so got to use it the ghetto way. And it's a 76 cc head.
Okay, we're not using this. Man, that's how I get to make Ethan work on his favorite engine ever, man. Look at how happy he is.
Yeah.
Look at his face, he's so happy.
These are 1.890, so I mean, that's a 40 thou difference.
I feel like that's fine. I need to make sure the springs
I
are
want
the
to see what
same.
the spring rate is versus these. So you got them over here, and you set this. I use this to install the tool, so I'll use this height. 1.850 was what you had, what you want to replicate. So you come down here, and then you move the 0 to here, lock it down. I'm going to lock this down too, so you know where to come back to. So this is the original one. And wow, that does not have a lot of spring pressure.
They're looking at the bottom gauge, yeah.
Yeah, that's only have like almost 75 pounds.
What's a normal flat tab big block cam?
I don't know anything about flat tappets, to be honest. I just know you got to match them. This one's a little bit over 75, so the springs on that head
Probably worn out a little bit.
are worn out a little bit, but you have to remember that it's 40 thousandths
Oh, that's
taller.
True. Yeah.
So you can go
Well, would we just
move
adjust the
you
basic
move the
end
0 to 10, 20, 30, 40,
and then go back to 0 again?
and then go back to 0.
Yeah. So you'd have to re-zero the...
No, I would, but it's pretty much
Yeah.
identical almost on seat pressure, so I would just run those springs that are already on the head.
Perfect. You actually got lucky for once. Yay.
Yes.
Go get a burger.
Yeah, I want one.
Thanks, Ethan. He's so happy to work on FEs, man. Look at him, he's such a happy
This
guy.
isn't a real smile.
Yes.
All right, you guys, we are back in the shop with the FE out of the crew cab, and we have a new set of cylinder heads right here on the bench. So these are a set of C4 AE 390 FE heads. We didn't really find too much on the casting. You guys can let me know, but they're a C4 AE H head. They look like they've been super mega ported, which is crazy. So at some point somebody looks like they ported them. But yeah, it doesn't look like anything too crazy, just a standard FE head from what I can tell. Doesn't look like it came out anything specific, but it's a good set of cylinder heads. You can see all the ears are intact. There's a couple of helicoils, but I would much rather have helicoils than broken ears. These you could at least put a nut on the backside if you wanted to, but when the whole ears broke clean off like mine was, pretty much a paperweight at that point. So yeah, and we went ahead and CC'd these on the backside. They are a closed chamber. They're a 68 cc cylinder head, which is good. I believe what I had was up in the 70s, so we'll bump up the compression a little bit. I'm gonna try to get my hands on an MLS head gasket for this thing in the next 3 days, and if I can do that, we should be able to bump this thing up even more. So it doesn't hurt to try to get a little more power out of this thing, and since this is a tow rig, I do want to bump the compression up a little bit. If I've got to run a 91 octane fuel, you know, so be it. And then you can see I got an oil pan. So the oil pan on mine, which you guys saw, was pretty much mangled right at the drain plug. This one is in much better shape, and pretty much we just need to Scotch-Brite it and shoot it. They've already cleaned it. and it looks super, super good. So that's one of the benefits about JBA. Those guys, if you want anything specific, like a little timing marker or any little bits and pieces that are hard to find, like guys like this, you know, not saying guaranteed, but you can walk in and say, hey, I'm looking for this part. Talk to Ethan, the machinist. He can look for it for you. And if they have it, they might sell it to you. So I did get very lucky in this situation that they had a good set of FE heads. That doesn't normally happen. And I definitely wasn't expecting to find them. So massive thank you to Austin and those guys for selling them to me, and Ethan for finding them. But yeah, getting back over to this thing, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing cleaned up. It's pretty much done. You can see it's already degreased. I got a couple little oil spots or grease spots here and there that I still gotta get out. But for the most part, this thing's looking pretty dang good. So we're gonna get this thing wrapped up. I'm gonna get the freeze plugs pulled out of it and get this thing ready to be painted. So that is the next step, is going ahead and getting all these old gaskets off, getting our oil pickup tube off, and getting that guy cleaned out. And then in the next video, we'll be able to get this thing entirely assembled, painted, and resealed. So super stoked with the progress. The only piece I'm missing is a new intake manifold, because you'll catch me dead putting that 300-pound intake back on this truck. So yeah, let's get back into it. Let's keep going. All right guys, those are the freeze plugs that came out of this thing. You can see the back sides are super corroded, and I blew holes in them to get them out, but you can see all the pitting, the heavy pitting on these things. That's definitely why they started to leak. Around the corners and the edges were super thin. A lot of these I would drive a punch and it would immediately blow a hole in them. So they were paper thin. And then looking on the inside of the block, I found about as pretty much what I expected. So I'm gonna try to show this as best I can. So you can see in there, we've got corrosion in that cylinder right there. You got a bunch more over here, a lot more actually in this cylinder. You can see all of the crap and shmoo in there. Going on this one, same thing. Goes down in there. Oh yeah, tons of it. On these ones, same thing. More shmoo in there. This one isn't too bad, but I can see remnants and pieces down on the very bottom, which you guys can't see on camera. This one's got plenty of junk in it. You can see all around up in there. But yeah, overall kind of a pain of film, but you get the point. These things have tons of garbage in them, so they're not really flowing like they should. And the big troublesome spot is this one right here. So you can see up on the top of this thing is just caked and stuff like that. If I drove a screwdriver in that stuff will just fall right out, and it pretty much covers that entire part of the cylinder right there. So that right there I think is a big coolant blockage on this engine, and this thing ran very cool. However, the one thing that I did notice when I would drive this thing is when it would sit in traffic, it did creep up in temperature, and I think that's part of it. So it being 60 over and having that, not a good combination. So essentially if I clear that, I think I can get by with it being 60 over, and it'll actually stay cool with the right fan setup. And it's all stock stuff, so it should work. And we do have a Frostbite 4-core radiator in this thing. So I'm gonna clean this out and then run it out, flush the thing out with water, get all the rust out of it, and this thing should be ready to go back together. Alrighty, well I think that's a good place to wrap everything up. We figured out what this thing is, and essentially a 60 over 390, which is not the end of the world, and I'm excited to put this thing back together. So I think it's a good place to wrap things up. Headed out of town for the weekend, hopefully gonna go film a couple videos up north, come back down, we'll be able to slam this thing together. I got a bunch of parts on the way, and a bunch of really awesome partnerships to show you guys. So that being said, I hope you guys went on to enjoy today's video. You're excited about it as much as I am. I'm ready to get this thing resealed. It won't leave, hopefully won't leak a drop of anything once we put this thing back in, and it'll serve a purpose for what we need it to do. Now no, this is not the forever engine for this truck. I definitely want to put a bigger power plant in it, whether it be gas or diesel, but this will serve the purpose for now. And the biggest thing is it won't look like crap. It'll look super nice. It'll look just as good as my F100 does when you open the hood. And that's what we're going for, is a reseal and a cleanup on everything. So that being said, I hope you guys are stoked as I am. I'll see you guys in the next video with the crew cab. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Let me do think down in the comments below. Grab your merchandise at nownatspeedcompany.com, and I'll see you guys in the next one with both of these trucks. Later guys.